What up, everyone? Switch Job here. It has been a while since I did some streams, and it's not because I wasn't too busy or anything. As it's just I was just really much up to doing some streams before, but you know. But now I'm finally back with some stream, and yeah, it's just will be probably just be myself and well, depends on if anyone else will join in, but right now it's just me for a moment though. Unfortunately, Game Guy might not even won't be able to join in due to his computer has some issues right now, and his what he as called phone edition. It's also a bit bad word, not good. So yeah, so I have decided to just do the stream for myself, maybe an hour, give or take. So what's been happening for my life for the past few weeks? Well, not much actually. I actually managed to get my own pet, and it's a cat. And I do say he is very talkative. Yeah, it was just like one normal day when I was just at home, and when my dad called me that he asked if I was home, I said yeah. He said that he is coming over and he would have someone with him, and I was like, with looks like, is my mom getting wet along with him? Nope. But it turns out he actually went to this animal shelter that has cats, and I mean, I had talked about getting my own cat for a couple of months before I even moved here, and one of the few first things when I had to do is that I talked to the people who worked for the staff here if it was possible to have a pet. They said it was allowed. So now I finally got my own pet, which is pretty awesome, actually. Even though he's very talkative, and yeah, he is like 4 years old, and yeah, he is very talkative, and when I say talkative, yeah, he is really talkative, especially in the mornings or for the past few nights now. He's been talking middle of the night, and I'm a light sleeper, and let's say I'm really not, but kind of that he is meowing middle of the night. If it is like I don't know 2 or even 4 or 5 in the morning, even I've been asleep for maybe an hour or so. And it no matter how much I telling him, or at least would want to tell him to just be quiet. The funny part is that early this morning, after I got my cat some food for breakfast, I told him, "Can you please be quiet?" And he's like, "No, no." I mean, he almost said it sounded almost like he said no twice. I mean, I have heard cats literally can say some human words like hello, no, or yes, or something. But I never expected my own cat to say something similar to the word no. Oh man, yeah, having a cat, it's pretty awesome. It's something that you can just cuddle with and just come home to when you're having a bad day or something. But you may ask, if is he always sitting by the front door when I come home from, if I have been to a store, if I have just been on for a walk or be on from work? No, he usually just takes off. I mean, he literally just ran under the couch or under the bed, just hiding for a few minutes or until something. And the only ones in my family that has met him, other from my dad who actually picked him up, it's my mom. My mom is the only other person in my family has well be able to meet him. So my brother is hasn't yet, and his girlfriend actually hasn't at yet though. You may probably ask what about my sister or her kids? Not really. I haven't even talked much to my sister for the past few months, for the past month or so. It's just um, circumstances actually. It's just I don't much want to go too much details. It's just mostly because of the privacy of my family and such. But other from my dad and my mom, who I actually finally met my cat, my brother hasn't even yet though. But it's gonna be fun. What we need to do. My parents do have a dog, so I don't know if I don't even know if my parents' dog actually is gonna be well work out with my cat. It's just that my cat, well, when I wanted to have two cats at one point to so they could keep each other company during the day when I'm at work or something. But my dad told me that having two cats will also increase the cost, and uh, and I don't really have that serious about much of budget for that. So I was like, um, it makes sense. And taking care of one cat is probably enough for me though. I mean, take care of the litter box and get them fed, which is yeah. I have already knew exactly what I was getting myself into when getting a pet like a cat or even a dog. But a dog itself, I wouldn't even have mind if I had a dog either. But the problem is that by law, you have to take the dog for a walk at least a half an hour each day, or well, several times, a couple of times in a day, but at least. But the law in Sweden, but if you had a dog, is that you have to take them for a walk for at least a half an hour, no matter what kind of breed it is, if it's Chihuahua or Golden Retriever, no matter what it is. And the dog has also been had to take a walk at least every 6 hours or so. That is just yeah. I wanted to have a dog, but I mean, I do love dogs. I do. Just dogs might actually be a little difficult for. I remember when my dad, or well, my parents got their dog, the first few months that he was, if even if I was in my room, and if he was alone downstairs on the ground level, he started barking, whining. That even though my parents were just outside in the front yard or even the storage or something like that, he was just start barking. But that's eventually stopped. And if I did get a dog myself, I just don't know how much. I mean, even though I have two neighbors. At least one of them is actually my ex. She works the same place as I do, so she is actually worked during the day. But my other next door neighbor, an older man, which I know quite well enough, and yeah, I don't even know how much he would react if he was something a dog barking. And you may ask, if I did have a dog and the dog was barking so much, and would the staff just simply go up there to my apartment to look after the dog while I was away or even at work? No. If the in if each in a single individual in this apartment complex where I live, if they go to get a dog or a cat, the staff has no obligation, no responsibility for look after the dog or cat while the person is away. And that makes sense because having a dog itself is it's a lot more work than most people think it is. Like take them for long walks, no matter what kind of weather it is. If it's a storm, or if it's just a snowstorm, or rain weather, or if it's a sunny day or something, it's a really hard work. And some dog breeds, they are also very sensitive to certain foods like spicy food, or and dogs. Well, certain dog breeds even for release much of sheds their fur a lot. It's can be problematic for many people and also a bit annoying and some for some people. But a cat itself isn't that much a problem with, since my cat usually just either spends what his cat tower just watching out of the window, or walking around, sleeps most of the day, and he's only 4 years old. But I don't really mind him though. I mean, he and I really shared one common interest, and that was his sleep. I don't mind sleeping, but yeah, well, too much sleep probably isn't a good thing. But considering having a pet is, well, not much a bad thing. It isn't. I just also just want to mention that. Anyways, something else to talk about. If some of my viewers may have seen that I have been posted some new stories on my channel, like uh, more crossovers or something. Actually, there are a few more crossover stories that I'm planning to do for next, well, I would say weeks, days, or months, for at least for upcoming time. Some are actually more like MLP Sonic crossover, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. As you may have also noticed, or been aware for a while, I have been actually be making some new, a new type of series, and the series is called A True Sibling. And I have only made 3 videos so far. But you may be thinking, one of the stories were Diamond Tiara and Cozy Glow. You may ask, hey, they aren't even related as at all, at least as far as we know. Well, that's the thing. We don't know that. I mean, when I made my new series, A True Sibling Stories, they are not necessarily only being about blood related siblings. It can be adopted siblings, it can be foster siblings, it can be step siblings. So any of the stories are in a range of, well, within the MVP series, it's kind of cool. I mean, since I first started with my love stories, then true friend stories, and now true sibling stories, I mean, I was always looking to expand sort of my views, my well, I'm always looking forward to expand my, well, kind of broad of interest of different stories out there, but but mainly stories that I have been might the only main stories I've been might be working from now on is mostly MVP, Pokemon, and perhaps a few others. Dependable from which anime or other shows that people ask me to do as a true friend or true love stories. I mean, I have done quite a much. I've even been asked to do My Hero Academia as a characters, which I don't do that since I have seen the series, only a few episodes on it, but it didn't speak well much to me, and I just, well, I just don't really like it much as much as I really wanted to. There are many other anime series out there that I have seen over the years, of course. Someone actually asked me a little while back if I would probably even do any Sailor Moon stories. And you may ask, do I had ever do I had you may ask, have I ever seen any of the Sailor Moon series? Actually, yes. I've seen 2 of them. The original from the 90s, and which I grew up with, and I even watched the reboot Sailor Moon Crystal. You may ask, what about the movie they made a few some time after the series ended or something? No, I haven't even seen Sailor Moon Crystal the movie yet, but I might be able to do it at some point. Um, when I talked about the original Sailor Moon series, well, technically, I never saw all of the episodes in the whole franchise, but I've seen plenty of that. So, I actually know what at least enough about the main character from the Sailor Moon. So, any potential stories about um well, love stories based on Sailor Moon characters, it's not impossible. I've seen both of the original series and the rebooted one. So I have at least the very concept of the personalities of each character, some of the like both personality and what they like. So it's not entirely impossible. I might even be able to do so, but it doesn't mean that I will rule it out. Like I said, I've done a few anime series that's love stories in the past, like a few Digimon, a few Pokemon, and I wouldn't think. I mean, if anyone even had asked me, what about say, I don't know, a Disney stories, Disney characters, or Pixar characters like say a Toy Story? Well, that might be a little bit more. I mean, the Toy Story might actually be a little limited at this point. Um, since in the Toy Story franchise, there are only like a few couples that I even that personally that I'm aware of. Or at least I don't think that some of them are. At least only two. What I think is confirmed. Ken and Barbie from Toy Story 4 or Toy Story 3 is where I think is confirmed. And of course, the most other obvious, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, is completely obvious as they are official, confirmed as a couple. But the third, the Toy Story that's I think is official, kind of official couple, is Buzz and Jessie. And the fourth, which I think is uh, Woody and his old friend. The one I can't remember her name. The one that's not the sheeps from Toy Story. I mean, she and Woody have been shipped back and forward over the years. So like there's like only four shippings that I think that's work, but only one is officially confirmed, which is Mr. Potato Head. But Buzz and Jesse, a Space Ranger and a cowboy girl. Oh yeah, that is a unique combination. But even if I would make them as a couple, and as in a movie and all, it's just like a if I would make a story of them as a couple and even get married, um, I mean it's possible, I guess. I mean it's like, but there is a usually things that the most stories is that they usually have either adopt a child or even have a child of their own. But since Buzz and Jesse are both toys and they are unable to even have like an actual child of them together, unless they find maybe a doll or maybe a toy that resembles as a child, like maybe a toy that resembles as a young boy or young girl, or perhaps even young cowboy or young or something. Perhaps I could probably come up with some idea for that. But if for Buzz and sorry for even Woody and Jesse, well, that might could have been some. Many assumed that Jesse and Woody have been as official couple since both are cowboys. Apparently, even have been part of an very old TV franchise years earlier in this whole movie franchise. I mean, many people assumed and many people thought that they were more closely better fits since they're both cowboys and they found their own TV show. And I mean, it's something I thought that could be possible. But if they're really going to enter the actual chronicle of the whole movie franchise, it Jesse and Woody would have been dating for only for what Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4 until they would have broken up since Woody chose to stay behind with that traveling carnival or something whatever it's called. I believe it's a carnival that he chose to stay behind so that he and his other friend that an old another old friend that he discovered is to find other homes rather abandoned toys. And I think, yeah, I mean, if they were dating at some point, that would have been a little bit difficult for him to just something dating and then when he decides to break up because that he wants to stay behind, yeah, it's that would have been a little bit problematic unless if they were quote unquote getting married and all. But I think if there was going to be any stories of possible potential love stories or the Toy Story, I think Buzz and Jesse from Toy Story is a perfect match as a potential love story for my channel and all. But there is in fact also another shipping that many probably have done, Buzz with Woody. Well, I mean, now these days are probably accepted by some fans, I guess, but I just don't know. But in the franchise of the if the potential to a love story from Toy Story characters, there are these are very limit. I mean, they also, even though they had introduced several characters from the very start until to this current, the final fourth movie, even though I never saw the fourth movie, and before you ask, no, I'm not even going to. It's just I don't very much lost interest after the third movie. It's just the whole movie franchise really derailed fast after the third one. It was just went a bit strange after, but I really much enjoy the franchise. I do. But if we're doing a love story based on the characters from the Toy Story characters, it's a very limit. It's a very limit of how many options we can go for. Jesse with Buzz, Woody with that the one who had the Chiefs, um, even Jesse with Woody would seems to be perfect match since after all both cowboys. And no, I'm not doing it for because they're typical. No, it just since they have been part of an old TV show in that franchise, so they at least are familiar with each other. But there are some, like I said, Buzz with Woody as a love couple. Okay, if you would like say go back in the '90s when the first movie happened, people like, are they even really gonna work? Um, I would think, probably even not at all. I mean, considering how many people had thought about them as a couple in the past, but yeah. But there are, of course, some other franchise that's say other than from Pixar that I might be able to do. If anyone asks Monster Inc. characters, that might be a little tricky though. I mean, Monster Inc. characters, a love story. I've seen probably most of the movies except Monster University. I've seen the news, the series show they actually made also, at least the first season. Kind of strange. Okay, as General Sky, I have an idea for a love story. Sky from Paw Patrol, who is in love with Twilight Sparkle. Ooh, hmm. That might actually sounds potential. But yeah, I'm not just certain. I'm not really because, and what I'm trying to say is, I just don't know. But I actually might actually have to ask some of my friends for their opinions. I mean, any potential for any of the last stories as an idea. But I think any stories on the Paw Patrol, and actually, and if anyone even asks, have I even seen enough about the Paw Patrol so I know anything about the show or the characters? Actually, yes. I have seen plenty of the Paw Patrol actually, and I think it's a pretty good show. But I haven't seen the movie yet though, and I might not even do that since um, I mean, Paw Patrol was Probably not even one of my favorite shows and it's like that, but it was pretty good otherwise. It was really entertainment for at least up for some of the episodes. But I think Paw Patrol. I I think I actually was even asked to do some Paw Patrol love stories in the past, but I never even went that far to do it since uh, might be a few reasons. Like I might actually forgot about it, which characters are supposed to be in a series and all. And I mean, it's yeah, I mean, it's not like I wouldn't do it. It just I haven't even much thought, much idea about it, and just how crazy it sound to be. But yeah, and some of the other crossover with MLP characters with different universe, other from Transformers, which I have. One is actually surprising, Gravity Falls. And yes, I actually have made at least one Gravity Falls crossover with MLP story, which is Twilight with Dipper. And I was even asked, like, wait a minute, how is it even possible for that? Because in the franchise, in the Gravity Falls, at the end of the series, Dipper is 13. And Twilight, well, okay, here's the thing. We don't even know her actual official age. But even though we know for a fact that she is older than like the CMC, so people may ask, probably ask, are the main six from G4 like in their like late teens, like 18 or even 20s? Yeah, like I said, we don't even know for exact precise age. And even especially in the episode um, when they celebrate Rainbow's birthday, yeah, they only said it was her birthday, but they never even precise give an exact age. That's the thing. So when I made the stories about Dipper and Twilight, yeah, I actually also only made it. But when I found a picture of Twilight in that human world, she looked like they somehow had transformed from probably like in her 20s to a human in her early teenage years, like 12 to 14 years old. And don't even ask me how that's even possible because I never went that far much in the story idea. But I thought Gravity Falls as potential. But if I would do some of the other main six characters with the characters from the Gravity Falls, that might also be a limit because there are only a few characters in the show that I think couldn't even work with some of the main six, like Mabel, Dipper's twin sister. Who would she work with? Like the only for me, there's only one character that I can even think of. That's Pinky. I mean, just imagine. After all, since Dipper was quite serious, he was always the sort. He was always in a deep research. He was always a serious-minded person. But Mabel, now she was far different compared to her twin brother. In fact, she was like Pinky. She was really, I'll say, free spirit, hyperactive. But there were moments that even Mabel were, well, in a serious mood also. But so if I would have made a love story with Mabel with any of the main six characters, I may have to say that would have otherwise they potentially with Pinky. I mean, they shared similar personality, but that is the thing. Um, if I would do the other characters, well, that's another thing. I mean, I can even see even Applejack with Dipper. I mean, she is honest, very serious about her things, and she always focuses on what is best for her and her family and friends. But when some of the other characters in the series, from about between MLP and Gravity Falls, um, Who else would have been a perfect match for outside other from the uh, Maple and Dipper? Well, since we know for a fact it's confirmed that Wendy, the one who works with for Stan at the Mystery Shack, is 15. So I think if there wouldn't be any of the main six characters to be with Maple, there's actually two characters I can think of. That is Rainbow and Applejack. Since Rainbow is quite of as similar to as she, okay, maybe not Rainbow as much as I thought of, but at least that she has potential. But Applejack and Wendy do share many similarities. They both are family deepened. I mean, they care so deep about their families, and they share similarities about their personalities. They're both honest, hardworking, and sometimes even Wendy might be a little bit slacking, but she is a hardworking family, and she really cares about not only her family but also her friends. So Wendy with Applejack, maybe. I mean, there are so many potentials in the franchise. As Sky from Paw Patrol with Twilight, yeah, that might be a little bit. It's gonna be a good one. Um, I have another idea. Izuku from My Hero Academia can be a good ship for any of the My Little Pony characters. Izuku. I don't know who that is in the series. Just to be clear, I have seen I think like 7 or 8 episodes of the My Hero Academia entirely. I actually stopped after like 7 or 8 episodes after, and I was like, um, I was like, really, this? I'm I I don't even know how to even to express my feelings about My Hero Academia series. It was not that horrible. It was just one word, confusing. Why, you may ask? Well, similarly in the story that over one night, people around the world, including newborns and perhaps other people, suddenly got powers, random powers, like called quirks. And I was like, okay, that is really random, confusing from my end. And as the Almighty, when he's not using his superhero form, he looked to be this slinky, skinny guy, like almost like it's you could easily punch it in the face and he's knocked out cold. But when he in his super form, he is probably the most powerful character in the whole series. But he revealed he can't go into super powerful the mode constantly due to some very health problem. So I mean, he even showed that he had this very much scar. He could have died or something. And even when he gave one single stray of his own hair to that boy, I don't even know his name, gave him very limit of power. And I was like, okay, if just one single stray of hair gave him that much of power, I wonder if what if the Almighty would shave all his hair and made that to some sort of wig and gave it to the boy? I have no idea how much power that would get. But um, like I said earlier, any stories from My Hero Academia is off the table. It's not gonna happen, in my opinion, though, since it's it's a lot of confusing characters and the whole franchise as the whole story. I know that many of my fans may actually feel a bit disappointed, but I had to be honest. rather being honest than being just lying about it. It's like, yeah, that's gonna do it. I will do it at some point, but they're rather being honest than being lying to my viewers. Because if I lied and so my viewers may actually overheard it or maybe realize I was never going to intend to keep that promise to make any other stories about it. And there is also a reason to why I usually don't do much of a crossover stories of other franchise like anime with MLP stories. There's actually a good explanation to that. It had to be like, say, for Twilight, she could use some sort of spell and somehow end up in a different world. I mean, like say, when she ended up from leaving Equestria to the human world, she used this magical mirror. So, and of course, in the first story I made with the Dipper and Twilight, they used a spell combined with all her friends together, which backfired and sent her to a human world. Well, a different human world. So if I had to do some stories about, say, anything, I like I like it. Um, Henry the Train from Thomas the French Shears franchise. I actually did end with a story with Fluttershy, and Fluttershy somehow end up in that particular world, but she is unable to go back due to the fact she can't perform magic, and that particular world in that franchise don't have magic. So when I always use on story or being thought about it or even asked, I always look into how to explain how that particular character end up in that particular universe. Like when I did Halo with Star Wars crossover, not that much simple actually, since John, the 117th Spartan, he traveled with his ship and was got his engines or the drives damaged when he was ended up in like a hyperspace, which made him cross one universe to another. So even scientifically, I explained that way. But when it was in a G4 or the MLP series, I explained that with magic. But if that involves a human from our world, would end up in Equestria, and if that world doesn't have any magic, how would you explain that? Well, maybe they invent some sort of scientific portal to open to and somehow transport to that particular Equestria. I mean, other from that, but there there had to be a certain explanation to some reason to why I made some uh, at least explain how the character end up in that particular story or that particular world. I actually had made a few new cross stories which haven't even been uploaded yet. And they actually is Sally Acorn with Applejack and one with Sally and Luna. And you may ask, did Sally or did Luna end up in on Mobius? No, actually, complete opposite. They actually had Sally end up in Equestria. And you may have even probably even seen that particular series called Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic CDM. That was on back in the early 90s when on TV. But in that particular world, Mobius both had technology and magic. So that some gives some an explanation to how Sally ended up in Equestria. And in fact, when I made that the Transformers crossover MLP stores, that also gave an explanation. In fact, there is an official comic series, only about like 6 or 7 issues, where Chrysalis was trying to use a spell to create a new army, which backfired on her, and it was interacting with the Decepticons' space bridge tunnel, which made them also malfunction and transport some of the Decepticons and Autobots to the Equestria. Even though that's not probably not even an official canon of the entire series, but it's kind of an explanation to at least how that happened. So yeah, so but doing so when General Sky asked for Sky Twilight, um, I actually may have to ask some of my other friends, well, at least for their opinions, and just. But even if they actually think that's a good idea, I can't promise right away when that particular story will be made. It can be weeks, perhaps months away from now. I mean, considering how many stories have been asked for nearly 10 years, and I haven't even done for perhaps only a fraction of the stories I've been asked. And even though people actually uh, there are so many other stories that I have been asked as much, and there is only one story that probably most of my viewers, even my old ones and probably my newer ones, don't know about. There is actually one love story that that basically no one can even see on my channel. It's not private. It has been deleted, but not by me, by YouTube itself. It was actually a couple of years ago, and even if before anyone asked, no, I don't even know which story that it were for a fact, since it was a couple of years ago, and now I am probably like near to as 750 stories, so nearly 800. Yeah, that's a lot of stories for the past 10 years or so. Wow. Even though I know this wasn't the intention to be this particular long, though, honestly. And when I first started doing my stories, I wasn't even a fan of My Little Pony at all. I mean, I wasn't even a brony at all. I was just like, do a few stories of the main six and a few background characters, and leave from that. I never expected people to ask me to do their stories, and it continued. Sure, there were some stories that had comments that saying that my grammar sucked, that my grammar was terrible, it that the grammar sentence didn't make sense at all. You may ask, did that piss me off? Not really. I mean, I was open for any criticism at all, because back then speaking English was probably the best for me, but typing it, yeah, that was probably not even that much as a good level as right now. um, yeah, so I just want to point that out. There is no kind of story like that, because I'm only one who made a text story, but I thought it was a good idea. You know, um, I mean, if we refer to Skyward Twilight, I mean, I can almost look into that. But I can't promise I will make the store right now. It's just so many ideas I had in mind, and so much things been happening right now in my personal life as well. um, what about Sans from Undertale? I'm curious what you think about that one. If you've had a good ship for anybody or just a friendship. Um, if you refer to Sans with anyone in the series or a crossover, um, I hadn't even played the Undertale game at all, like ever. But I actually seen a lot of people's fan made art, fan made comic dubs on the internet. So I at least know about the characters. I mean, I know Sans is the laziest of everyone in that underworld or Undertale. His older brother, no wait, his younger brother Papyrus want to be a royal guard, and that um but making it as a crossover like between the Undertale and MLP, hmm, that might be. I mean, they do have magic in that world, they do, but that might be a bit tricky. But I'm not saying it's not something I wouldn't even consider to do. In fact, I never even thought of it, honestly. I mean, I have seen plenty of art from the Undertales, and I think it's actually, you know, I think any stories, even if they're only between characters in the Undertale, like say Sans with Toriel or Papyrus with uh, Undyne, or Undyne with her Alphys, or King Asgore with Toriel again, or uh, what's the character's name again? Frisk with Asriel. I mean, I know for some of the characters, and I think doing some last stories only with if it was only being only with it between characters in Undertale, different going on. That's different. I mean, I know at least enough about the characters and the personality, and I have seen a lot of fan art and fan comic stuff for and even fan comic series of Undertale for the past few years. So I think why not? I mean, I kind of like the characters in that. I mean, I can see myself as in Sans. I mean, I love to sleep. I love to sleep. But Undertale as stories, I could definitely see that happen. I can actually do that. Sans with some of the characters. I mean, if there was Sans with not Victorial, okay, first of all, I have seen plenty of stories of Frisk end up with Sans, but in the game, Frisk looks like it could have been like a like 8 to 10 years old, and the fact we don't even know how old Sans are. It's not like they're like he's immortal or anything, since they can not die from in with the game and all. But um, if I could like do a love story between Sans and not Toriel, but who other female character would it be? Hmm. I mean, there are a few. There are a few male female characters. Um, but I wanted to do the one the ghost in that robot suit, since that is more like Papyrus kind of crush. So of course, Sans likes to tease that particular character. I don't remember the name of it, but but doing a crossover stories between, let's say, MLP with the Undertale, I might actually say it's potential. I mean, it's not like I just had to figure out exactly to come up with if Twilight would end up being underworld or when the monsters lived on the surface. It's I mean, I can see a potential in that. I do. It just there are many ideas that I can come up with, but also, but since that game has only a friend, do have only a handful of characters. It's gonna be a like limit to how many stores I can do. Unless I can come up with some others, but I see myself that Undertale do have its potential. Doing a story from not only from other games. Um, okay, there is of course the most popular game out there, Mario. Even though now it is official, Mario and Peach aren't dating; they're just friends. But I can actually see myself doing some Mario character stories out there, like Mario with Lena, Mario with Daisy, Mario with Peach. Okay, I might not even do a Bowsette. It's um yeah, that might actually be a bit weird. I mean, since Bowsette isn't technically as much an original character from the start, since that's like Bowser with Peach is a mix. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. But doing love stories based on Mario characters, yeah, I mean, I can see that potentially. But you may even ask, like, if it's gonna be only based from the games or based from like this most recent movie they made. Um, I mean, I think probably like from the game is more reasonable to do. And there is actually one. Then I mean, like one Mario movie that I'm never even going to make a based any stories from, and that is Super Mario Bros. From 1993, the first live action movie of the that franchise. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, they literally turned Daisy from not from the Mushroom Kingdom or from her own kingdom, but she was from the Hollow Earth, and the fact that she was a highly evolved dinosaur. Yeah, that was a. I mean, that that movie was supposed to be based on the game, like Bowser, but the main bad guy was not a Koopa, but it actually was highly evolved T Rex. And in fact, they even had this particular weapon that they could either evolve or de-evolve anyone to any of their previous line of anything. Like say, if Mario was hit by that deer evolution ray, he would he will suddenly evolve backwards from a human to any of the previous lines, like Neanderthal or Homo erectus, or even as early as apes. Though that bad guy in that movie, he was actually he was the only one that we know of kind of was killed, and this is like a kid movie. But the thing is, if they evolved him so far back to that he was only like completely slime. No joke. He evolved from his human form to a T Rex, from a T Rex to completely primordial slime. No joke. That literally happened. So if anyone do any request from that movie, I would say absolutely not. No way in the world I would even do that. No. But any other based on the games, yeah. Oh, okay. Just hear me out. If anyone even said, "What about a true friend story between Mario and Donkey Kong?" Oh yeah. Um, what if anyone even asked, "What about Donkey Kong and Mario and Luigi as adopted brothers?" Well, I think that would be quite an interesting idea, but I don't know, maybe. But any love stories from Mario games definitely happen. I mean, I actually had plans for that in the past, but just never get to that far. And Undertale, yep, that is awesome stories I also have. Uh, I mean, I can see there are like only a handful of characters in the game, so that's actually gonna be quite of a unique. Uh, I have a unique one Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club because she has the power of glitch powers to go to go any game or whatever. Because I've seen a lot of ships with this one, including like Bendy or some other character as well. Oh, oh, um, that is. I may have to say it is. I not even never heard of the. I never even heard of the Doki Doki Literature Club at all. I mean, I never had. But in my defense, there are so many anime shows that has been made over the years. But yeah, I mean, I may have heard some of them, but never actually looked into them. I only seen a handful of story shows, but Um, there are at least one. Okay, there is. I say this: if anyone even asks to do a friend a love story based on from like a horror, like a slasher horror anime, like say Corpse Corpse Party, which is an actual anime. Trust me, I've seen it. First time I saw it, I could barely sleep that night. It was yeah. But the second time I saw it in the dark in the late evening, yeah, it didn't scare me much. But no, that is any horror characters from no matter if it's a game, movies, or shows or anything, that's off limits. That's basically off limits. I just want to point out any horrors, slashers is completely off limits. That includes characters from, like, say, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, and other those classical characters. They're also off limits. So don't even ask. They will be rejected immediately. No matter the question that anyone asks, there's no way they will happen. Um, when should I request Christmas stories? Oh, about that. I'm not actually going to take in a request this year. Apparently, my friend Malakaita decided to decide all those stories already, and which he has. Which one it is, don't know. Don't even remember. This was like a couple of months ago, but I do know I did screenshot that. So let me see if I can find that. I think I did save it on my computer somewhere. No, not there. But yeah, I think, but I might be able to do that, but I'm not sure. Um, but Doki Doki Literature Club, I never heard of the show, so I don't know anything about it. So I mean, I'm open to any requests or any ideas, but as long as I'm like there horrors or anything, but that includes vampires, ghouls, ghosts, monsters. No, even the friendly monsters like Casper, friendly ghosts. No, that's also off limits. I mean, first of all, how would you even explain? Like, say, if Casper would have dating a girl, say if she is like 20 years old, how do you even explain for one detail, like say, like how will you even get married? I mean, she is can get married, but a ghost. I mean, it's like no any actual ghost can even get married since they're dead, and dead people don't even have like the rights for it, or at least it also would have been hard to explain. And even if they would somehow get married, they won't be able to have any child of their own. Like there's no magic. There might be some form of magic, but not that extent. And also, might even be trickier since she might not even be able to get pregnant by Casper since he's a ghost, and unless from that movie when he was temporarily back as alive, but that was only but against because of his mother even granted him only temporarily as human. But that is a movie, and of course it is old TV show on Casper, so they're completely different. And yeah, so even if they wouldn't say if Casper and his human wife want to adopt, I don't even know if those even that would be legal. I don't even know for a fact. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Ted from Ted 2 when this teddy bear he wanted to adopt, but the government, or at least the federal government, saw him not as an actual living individual, only as a property. So that meant that even his marriage with his wife wasn't even valid or even was even real. But that was when they went in court. So, but yeah, I just want to point that as an example. It's just um, that might be a trick though. Kozuko Spike, a true love story. Spike with Diamond Tiara. Um, I actually thought of doing a Spike with Kozuko at some point. I just don't know. Spike with Diamond Tiara. Don't I even have on? They made that already. Honestly, I don't even know. I mean, considering I've nearly done nearly almost 750 stores, so yeah, it's quite easy to forget some of the stores. So but then I also have about 70 plus stores on my flash drive that's just been waiting to be uploaded. And don't even ask me which stores are on that one, since like I said, 70 plus stores, and yeah. But currently, I've been working on some new crossover stores. That's still working on the process of that one, though. About all the stores, mm, there might actually be less than less other stores from now on, since it's not because I got tired of doing other stores. It's mostly that my cat. Yep, I actually got myself a cat right now, but and when he speaks, yeah, it's pretty loud. Well, not like siren loud, but it is. I mean, let's say from this, if I'm recording a story and like I've been recording for say 10 minutes, and he's suddenly meowing in the background, I was like, 10 minutes of the story recorded for nothing. And since my audio stories, at least the MLP ones, don't have a script, literally. I don't even do a script to any of my MLP audio stories at all. Just to point out, except for those, the one that only happen, like say, Christmas special stories that I post for each holiday, like Easter, Christmas, New Year's. Those are stores that do have scripts, but they don't even same as the same category as my last stores. The last stores I do from MLP do have not a script at all. And you may even ask, how would I even come up with that thing if I don't have a script? Well, I am actually came up with when I'm talking in recording of the story, I'm actually coming up with that thing on the spot. Like let's say it like this, when I'm doing a stream, it's like this. I'm talking in a story, and then suddenly it's like the story idea come to my mind all that moment. It's that's how simple it is. But my other stories that's not MLP, like the Between Two Humans, those stories had script. Well, kind of from a script. I just only put in some information, like say the characters' names, the age, and what I want to happen. But that's all I do. The most main stores are like the audio, so means MLP stores don't have a script. But well, there might have been a few stores that did have some form of script, but not basically. Most of them don't have. And even if I do all the stories, let's say if I do like Kozugo with Spike, usually those stories aren't even that long. Sometimes around 20 plus minutes long, maybe 30 minutes. Though there's only one story that's between Rarity and Trixie in a Quest Girls version. That story went for much longer than that, like 2 hours and 28 minutes. Yep, you heard me right, for nearly 2.5 hours. And yeah, let's say this. My throat was not happy that day afterwards, since my throat was a bit sore. And of course, who can forget? Last year, I made 10 stories in one day. Less than, I think when I did that, it was like 10 stories in probably within 1 hour. So I made 10 audio stories in 1 hour or so. Believe me, I never do that again. Nope. That's the limit I go for. If I do audio stories, probably three or two at max, not 10, not more than that. Ugh. If I even do more than 10, I pray for my voice not to be completely gone. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I did that, and if my throat was set so sore from talking too much instead of recording as stories for that many. If I did 20 audio stories, even if each story was only like 20 to 25 minutes long, and if I did those stories one after another, well, I would not be surprised if my throat or my voice would sound deeper than it usually is. Like, there is actually one time when I actually was had this terrible cough. I wasn't sick or anything. I just suddenly had this terrible cough, and day after, I could even barely speak. Well, I mean, I could speak, but my parents said I sounded like a walrus. Yeah, you may be laughing about it, but it's not a joke. It's literally happened. I did sound like a walrus for about a day or two. Yikes, that's that probably brought some bad memories for me. Oh man, even if I did have that as saved as recording, I wouldn't even post that on the internet at all. But yeah. But Cozy Glow with Spike and Cozy Glow with Diamond Tiara or Spike with Diamond Tiara. You know, I mean, it's not like impossible for those stories, but uh, that is also some of the things about this. Um, just to be saying this, some of the shippings don't even have a child that's made by the people or like anything. But luckily for me, I'm actually if I can't find any, I might just simply make my own. I mean, I can always use an MLP uh, baseline form of by using Google and change some modifications to make them appear like a dragon pony hybrid or something like that. But I mean, it's not like that difficult to be honest. But if you ask yourself, is it even possible for a pony and a dragon in Equestria to even have a child? All of the hybrid that we have seen is fan-made characters. It was never even explained throughout G5 or even G4 at all. Even though those dragons in G5 did somehow to have hairs, and in fact, even cutie marks. But the only two dragons in G5 that didn't have cutie marks were Sparky and Spike. But I was a bit surprised that that uh, was possible. I mean, it was surprising, say at least. My question I have: are you going to do a like love stories instead of My Little Pony? Would you like to like, for example, Miraculous Ladybug? Ooh, I have seen the Miraculous Ladybug for. Well, I haven't seen much of the show lately, but I have seen a lot of the previous seasons actually, so I know at least some of the characters and to be honest, just been saying this, just when the first series started, that Adrian and Marionette was immediately shipped as a couple. Yeah, there was a plot twist. They actually ended up dating in the end. And I believe they actually even are familiar, or at least now fully aware about their secret identity, at least as far as I know. But I haven't seen the show lately, other since the newest version of it. Or did see the one United Forces in London, or when they were in New York. Interesting movie. Um, but doing a love story based on Miraculous Ladybug, oh yeah, that actually has been on my mind for the past few years, but it's just never happened. It just never happened. Why? Either I forgot about it or something. Well, okay, I have to say it honestly. I forgot about it. Okay, simple. I mean, consider how many things happens daily basis of my life and how many stories been asked, and easy to forget details. But here's the thing: my girlfriend actually found, gave me ideas for miraculous ladybug stories, but but the one that's actually in the story is not Adrian and Marionette as Chat Noir or Miraculous Ladybug. She found an idea for the next generation. In fact, those, at least the one of them, the one's gonna be the one's gonna be the next Ladybug is their own daughter, and Chat Noir is a girl who is, I believe, from my understanding, from is of Swedish origin. Like he was literally born in Sweden in that particular character, which is a fan made. So I think um, doing a lot of stories based on uh, Adrian and Marionette. Oh yeah, definitely going that. That's way gold. And Alia with Nico, definitely. I can even see myself as the potential of say Marionette with her own best friend Alia as a love story. I mean, come on. Now these days there are always some shippings between female friends, like say Kim Possible with her best friend, or well, her friend Monique. There's always a female character that should be shipped with a best friend, no matter what franchise there is. And you cannot even deny that. But if you say this, go back 30, past 40 years back, say to the 1960s or 1970s, even bringing this as a story idea for being released, that wouldn't even be much happened. But if you're going a little bit further back, let's say 1930s, oh boy, if you did that, you would be looked down as a crazy. But yeah, but I mean, the reckless ladybug gets a lot of stories. That's definitely going to happen. I just don't know when. But I think that's probably. What do you think about this idea for a Halloween story? A Cozy Heart Nightmare Night. Is that a reference to Flirty Heart with Cozy Glow? I mean, wait a minute. I think I actually did a love story based on Cozy and Flirty Heart at one point. But like I said before, I had done so many stories, I had lost track of all of them. That's easy though. I mean, I nearly almost close to 1,000 stories, anyways. um, but Miraculous Ladybug is a love stories idea. Oh yeah, that's definitely happened. I mean, there are so many. That's it's so many characters in the show, like so many students in the show and that school they went to. That opens the doors of many possibilities, potentials. Though there is, I can't even see myself this as a shipping, but Chloe and Marionette. Chloe is the one that was the girl that was kind of a bully. Yeah, even though yeah, I don't even know. Evil Starlight and Dark Mole. Ooh. Um. Okay. First of all, that is. Um. You want to know something? That would have been quite an epic story. But Starlight in Star Wars Galaxy or the Star Wars universe. Um. Let's say from this, if that happened, she wouldn't even be a pony at all. She would be like more like a human. At least it's kind of been weird afterward. If I literally made a story between a pony and even though Darth Maul isn't actually a human, but he's a Sabrak, but close enough. I mean, like a sab or like a human character, humanoid character with a pony as a love story. Yeah, that's gonna send a mixed feeling, mixed signals, and also pretty nasty comments if I expect that much. But if that was like evil Starlight as end up in that galaxy as human, um, but that's another thing. Um, two things actually. If she ended up in that galaxy, would she? Would her magic somehow? Would the magic convert into the Force? And another thing is how that even possible? I mean, trying to come up with the. I mean, it sounds similar to what I made for Halo with the Star Wars crossover. So, um, yeah, I may have to figure out a way for that, but I think that's possible. I mean, if I did the Halo with Star Wars and yeah, so I may have to figure out a way for that, but I see might have potential. David redraws. Hello. Yep. Hello there. Welcome to my stream. Normally it's other people in my stream, like some of my friends, but unfortunately, some of them actually aren't available. My Lion King fanatic friend Kuvu is unfortunately is with some friends, and Game Guy is unfortunately available. He's actually home, but just his computer is well being a piece of garbage. I mean, it's not an understatement. It's just been not world friend for us. So yeah, but yeah, evil Starlight with Darth Maul. Um, yeah, I mean, I think I can see the potential. Speaking of Darth Maul, some of you may not even know this, but there's actually a new show that's gonna be released, I believe, this year or next year about Darth Maul. That taking place some years before he died. Um, I believe, and he finds this force sensitive Twi'lek that becomes his apprentice. I believe this to take place around early Great Jedi Purge or something. And this was actually not even released by actual America Disney conference, but in China. Or was it Japan? It was either China or Japan had this on like an announcement or something. I don't even know. Probably many had seen Star Wars Mandalorian, and they were rumored. There was actually story confirmed for season 4 to be released that was in development. I had to break the news, but Star Wars Mandalorian is actually over. They ended the series after the third season, even though the fourth season were in development, or at least from what I heard. And that's another thing. The Mandalorian Grogu movie, which is set to be released next year, is definitely gonna be epic. They literally had released the first trailer of Mandalorian Grogu movie. I saw it. It was, I had to say, epic. I'm looking forward to it. What do you think about animes or video games like Genshin Impact or Kuma Kuma Bears? As for example, after all, good ships can also ship them with someone else. First, I heard about the Genshin Impact. Never played it though. Only heard about it. Kuma Kuma Bears. Never heard of it. Sorry. It just there's so many anime out there, and if you ask my friend Game Guy about this, yeah, he would even get much an answer since he has never even seen a single anime at all. He is not even an anime guy, so it's pointless to even ask for that one. For Cozy Heart Nightmare Night, Cozy Glow and Flurry Heart are already married, and Twilight asked them to host for a nightmare party. Ooh, ooh, that's a good idea. That's 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 even not a bad idea either. Um, if they host a party, I had there's actually a few places that I can think that's party is gonna be in: Crystal Empire, Canterlot, Ponyville. But if I had to say the most plausible best choice would be Ponyville. I mean, after all, it's mostly what has happened. But there is another thing. Uh, Ever since G5 happened, started around 2020, and unfortunately ended around I think 2023 or something. There were many questions. Since this show would only were set place in Bridlewood, Manhattan, no, Bridlewood, Maritime Bay, or Separate Heights, there were some problems and questions. What happened to some of the other iconic places like Canterlot, Ponyville, Cloudsdale? What happened to those places? Were they destroyed or they completely gone? Well, there is actually a couple of years ago when the show was still running, the first place was literally confirmed that's still intact but abandoned. That's Canterlot. In the first comics about the G5, they literally reveals that Canterlot is the ruins. It's no one that even lives there. Well, technically, if you don't count the Discord that lives in the under beneath the caverns or the caves beneath the city. But then, what about Ponyville? Unfortunately, it's not been described, being revealed what happened to it. But Cloudsdale, now that I do know, it's fact. This what happened to it. It's pretty much still intact. If you may have seen the episode from Tell Your Tale when rainbows suddenly disappeared, like even from ice cream, cakes, you name it. And but there's this mysterious machine in the clouds that was draining that. Many assumed that was the remain of the weather factory from Cloudsdale, but it is completely debunked. It is not from Cloudsdale at all. Because many assumed, but they saw that Cloudsdale was completely gone. Like, since the city was made of basically just of clouds, many think it's gone. But newsflash, Cloudsdale is still intact. It hasn't even been destroyed, just abandoned. It turns out that even Cloudsdale never happened in the show itself, not in the Make You Mark or in Telltale, but in comic. The city was abandoned just before Twilight sealed the magic inside the Unity crystals. It was actually when that happened, when Twilight sealed the crystals, magic in the crystals, when she sealed all the magic in the crystals, Unicorns lost their magic. Pegasus lost the ability to fly at that same moment. And how do I know that? Well, it turns out that Rainbow was the last commander, or at least the last captain of the Wonderbolts. Shortly after that happened, the Wonderbolts was completely disbanded. I mean, there was no point to even have a Wonderbolt team if they can't even fly. She revealed this in a hologram message. She was recording this as a message in Cloudsdale's Museum of History, and the city looks completely intact. It's like the city has even like compared to Camelot was in basic ruins, but Cloudsdale, it actually looks as if the ponies there had just left only a day early. It looked very identical, intact, and they actually managed to move Cloudsdale clouds because it somehow had ended above Sefer Heights, causing problem. But they put it somewhere else, and they literally put an anchor, like a ship's anchor, on the ground from Cloudsdale. No joke. Did that actually happen in the comics, which is canon for just to be mentioned. And yeah, it's just I can explain Kuma Kuma Bears as best I can. It's followed a girl named Yuma, and the story that gets chance to overpower a bear onesie. She gets overpowered magic. She's trying to hide it pretty good. Hmm. Yes, that's an interesting concept though. But I guess once again, I haven't even seen that as a game or as a show, so it's pretty much many animes I hadn't even seen. I heard about some of them, but never saw any. Bubbles with Princess. Oh wait, the Pop-Up Girls. Yeah, that's um well, that depends on which version you're referring to. If you're referring to the original or the reboot or the Japanese anime version, and just to be just to bring this out, there's actually a second reboot of the Powerpuff Girls in development as far as the last year. And I have to say, I'm not going to watch it. I never even saw the rebooted after at all. It's they kind of ruined the whole franchise by rebooting the whole thing. What's next? Rebooted the Star Wars from every single movie, like episode 1 to 9. What was the point of that though? So honestly, it's just Bubbles with Princess. I think that's. I mean, there are enemies, but considering the like say Sunset Shimmer and Twilight, they were enemies at one point, but they later became friends. So I guess that could work. Um, I just don't know at this right now at least. But speaking of the Powerpuff Girls, I may have to explain what is telling him something that was were in the development a couple of years back. There were actually this live action show, or at least version of the Powerpuff Girls, and it was called Powerpuff. And it wasn't in development, but eventually it was canceled. I mean, they never the whole Powerpuff Girls live action was canceled way before even the first episode was even released. I even heard that the first pilot episode had to be remade because quote unquote it was so terrible, it was so bad. I mean, the first episode of that live action version show of the Powerpuff Girls was so bad they had to remake it. But then, only as a few days ago, I actually came across this this released or at least leaked trailer for as the series of the Powerpuff, which is the live action of the Powerpuff Girls. And here's the thing: in the rest of the live action show, it was a huge difference. I mean, the professor, he still he was being given a first name and he was dating Sarah Bellum, the mayor's assistant, on and off. And as we all know, she never showed her face neither in the anime or the reboot or in the original series or any of the movies. But in this live action, she would show her actual face. But here's the thing: Mojo Jojo in the live action was actually a monkey, but he wasn't even the bad guy. He was a normal chimp. No powers. Couldn't even speak. Here's the thing. In the show, uh, the professor, even though the girls were no longer at the preschool or first elementary age, as they were in the series and all that, they were much older. Like, I had to say, like 18 or 20 years old, I guess. I had to say, like in their 20s or something. It seems more reasonable. Um, they were told, or at least literally forced, to wear still wearing the same outfit by the professor. Why? Well, since they have been selling merchandise like toys, clothes, you name it, of the girls. And if they choose to stop using that outfit, they will even he will lose all the rights. And in fact, Mojo, the one that we know of as a madman, he was actually Professor's assistant, or is his partner at some point. And like the as an original, he was a chimp, a normal chimp that was kind of smart, helped him Professor with some projects, something like that. But in this original, in this live action version, it's complete opposite. Actually, he was just he was just a normal. Excuse my cat, probably was awake now. Around. If you heard a cat in the background, that's my cat. So no worries. Uh, what happens? Mojo and the professor had a falling out, and not the funny part is, Mojo has a son, which he is, I think, his name Mojo Junior. Get this, he is the mayor of Townsville, and he has the ship that's known as Mojo Jojo. But here's the thing about the live action version. Like I said, the original pilot episode was so bad that they had to remake it. But that is not the thing. In the leaked trailer of the supposed show, even though it's not canceled, is that the girls, they were summoned to Townsville for something, and for what I understand, at least get the concept what happened, is that Mojo was a madman, like this his monkey version from the original series, but something happened. They were not explicit what exactly happened, but I get the gesture. They were trying to stop Mojo, like this they had done previous monsters others before, but this led to Madman Mojo to be, yeah, he ended up dying or being killed. I don't know if the girls attacked him, which killed him on the spot, or if they used something that caused him to fall off, to die from the fall, or something fell on him. I don't know. I don't even know for exact since that was never much explained in details. But after that Mojo died, Blossom, she left Townsville completely. I I would assume I'd feel out the guilt. Buttercup, she she remained in Townsville, but she stopped being a superhero at that same. But she became a firefighter. Blossom, or Bob, you may ask, what about Bubbles? The animal loving girl. She left. She left Townsville. She decided to focus on a new career as in acting. She literally went to Hollywood. Well, she wanted to go to Hollywood, but ended up in Browse, uh, Broadway, and started selling some merchandise of her own self. And in the trailer, which somehow they even went back to Townsville to meet up for to celebrate. And that one, when the professor tells them this new darkness has happened. So I don't know exactly if what this new darkness was about. If it's about this devil-looking guy, him. Yeah, that's his literally name, him. If that was about him, maybe. But I was in shock when I first saw the trailer that the girls looked as much similar to their original, their cartoon version. Blossom still had her ice power, their laser powers, the laser ice powers, and super strength and all that. But I'm surprised they made such changes. Mojo Jojo, as the ape or the monkey character we know of, that we love as a bad guy, was he just a normal chimp, a pet to Mojo Jr., the son of Mojo, which died, which even though they never in the trailer there never was much explained exactly how he died, only that he died. I mean, I assume that he was the cause of the disturbance in Townsville. The girls that's normally responds reach out to stop him for causing more trouble, which made their final their some kind of error, which led him to die. So here's the though. We know that Bubbles left to become focused on her as a career in acting at Broadway. Buttercup became a firefighter, but they never revealed much in the trailer of what about Blossom. Only know that she left Townsville of the guilt, but it never explained exactly what happened. And there was another thing that I may have forgot to mention that the girls don't even wear those outfits daily basis. When they're home, they wear just casual clothes. Only those uniforms or what do you call them? Only when they leave for emergencies. And I would have assumed that they are in fact in their 20s since Blossom, no, sorry, Bubbles had been start drinking way before this disaster happened, and she couldn't handle her alcohol that well. Yeah, it's just when I first saw this trailer, it was only a few days ago, and I was like, the hell? I mean, I knew the fact that it was a live action show that's supposed to be happen, but since Warner Bros. Pulled the plug on the whole project, and yeah, so there's a lot of questions that even went on in some probably like so many people's minds, like how many episodes was in development, was already. I mean, how many episodes were already being made, and how many more were still in the works, and even so, another thing is when would the show would have been released? Would another is like would it be released on Cartoon Network, which I really doubt. I mean, Cartoon Network is only for kids show. I mean, I really doubt that they would focus on a show where that literally shows people dying. even if it was a live action. I doubt it. That was if it's not going to be. So if it's going to be anywhere, it probably will be like HBO or Netflix or something. I mean, in the whole show of that is, what if Fluttershy tried to keep Mojo Jojo as a pet? Robert, that's a good question, but I doubt it. I mean, since he's a talking ape or monkey, yeah, I don't think he would even. I don't think he would like that idea. Just saying. um, I'm just saying this. Having this death as an actual show, I can say right now, if the show would have been completed and even released, do you think the show would? Let's say if the show has a 20 episodes, do you think? Do you honestly think the show would even have more seasons after the first one? I may have to say absolutely not at all. I mean, considering that the fact that the that Mojo ended up dying in the show, and the fact that now and that the girls after the disaster decided to just break apart, and two of them left while only one remained, and also another small detail is that the fact that the mayor that we know of, the one with the white mustache and all, he is not even part of this as a mayor, but Mojo Jr. as the mayor. And he is trying to be re-elected as the new mayor again. Well, according to this show and all, but yeah, and I was like, and at the fact that Sarah Bellum, we finally to see her face, I was like, okay, that was something. I mean, throughout the entire show, from the previous ones that they like the anime, the cartoon, the reboot, we never even saw her face, not even once. Many fans speculated, what if she is hiding her face because she's ugly, or if she has a scar that she feels uncomfortable and that she had her hair cover her face. And I don't even think even the mayor has never even seen her face, not even once. I mean, that's only my speculation, since even though they were never mentioned it, but I mean, can you blame it though? I mean, throughout the entire franchise of the Powerpuff Girls, there are always some speculations to why Sarah Bellum's face was never actually been seen, or two reasons for that, or she felt maybe I don't even know for that. But honestly, I think if the series would have been the live action would again been released, I don't even think even half of this. I don't even believe like two things. If it was gonna be 20 episodes, I don't think like half of the show probably would like, or at least the series wouldn't even get a renew for a second season. I mean, many fans of many franchises are have many hardcore fans that's really beloved fans prefer the original or at least the old ones. I know for the fact that that's true. If like I say, it's a big if the show had been happened, there is no doubt to say this, but the show wouldn't even have even get any more seasons other than just one. I mean, can you even imagine a show where the girls to try to defend their city and suddenly by a disaster, even though they never explain exactly how he died, but that Mojo died and that the girls felt so devastated by this effect and that they just broke apart and both Bubbles and Blossom just left, leaving their sister behind. I mean, I understand from their heartbroken, their devastating effect on how seeing this effect. I mean, if looking at in the original series of the Powerpuff Girls, and including in the um, actually in the original when they created their own sister, which died after being unstable, And in the rebooted, turns out they had an older sister, which the professor never told them about. And oh, like that. Okay, including a new character, it's nothing new. But having a series based on the as a live action of the Pop-Up Girls, I mean, when I first heard about it, I was cautious, but also interested. But when I first heard about the story that they had to remake the whole pilot episode because it was so bad, yeah, if anyone even asks how bad was it because they had to remake it, honestly, I don't even know. I only heard about it was so bad they had to remake it the whole thing. I mean, it's not like that's unusual either in that industry, you know. But making it this live action, I don't even think would even be such a good idea, anyways. I mean, if that Mojo end up dying, and the trio in a split up, and they only leaving Buttercup behind, Bubbles decide to focus on as a new career in acting, but Blossom, I have no freaking idea what she went or what she went trying to do. Perhaps he went to some sort of self-imposed exile somewhere. I don't even know. It was never explained. And even though after the show was just never even been produced, like I mean, it was never explained how many episodes was even where it's gonna be part of the show. It was never explained. And in fact, even so, even if they were say if they were doing 20 episodes, I don't even know. So let's say if they were only like halfway through the production and the show got canceled. Couldn't even imagine like revealing this. I mean, having that made as a live action of the Powerpuff Girls is one thing, but when they made live action movies of say Scooby Doo, I was really surprised that even affect much of uh, the whole franchise there. Except, unfortunately, for one single series that was, I had to say, is the most hated, vile hatred of all Scooby Doo franchise, Velma series. The Velma series is the only Scooby Doo part of the whole franchise, but for over 50 years is the most hated of all. Many fans dislike Velma series. Good riddance. I mean, can you even that? Scooby! He was never even in the show at all. And the fact that Velma or Fred, he was a complete annoying, incapable person. I mean, he was part of a rich family, and he could even cut his own meals, and he had to have servants. Come on, he was in a high school, and he probably should have known how to do it. Even a 5-year-old could. Oh man! And it turned out the first killer in this series was his own mother. Oh boy, that's yeah, that was a plot twist. Yeah, so and that the fact that Velma died when the in the series finale. Yeah, and they actually made a short movie about it as as a final epilogue, I you call it, and they actually brought back Velma from death, which yeah, that was actually kind of the good ending, I guess. But Velma series, no, absolute the one of the worst. I saw only the second season, not even the first. Why selling it within as an that? Yeah, I don't think that the first season would even was that good enough, honestly. But I think the whole concept of live action of different shows is not a bad idea, depending on what course of franchise it is. I mean, the live action version of this Pop Up Girls, if that show had even been made, it would only last for just one season. Trust me, and that's only I think it would have. Since since Mojo and a die, and the trio of girls split up. It's just how things happened. I mean, it was so bad, and I mean, excuse me, a moment. Excuse me there, but my cat is talkative right now, which not surprising. But yeah, making Powerpuff Girls as a live action, I mean, it's something. I mean, they actually say, let's say, when they made Kim Possible live action movie, only one. I never saw much about the movie itself, only parts of it. It's an only plot twist that Dr. Draken was using a machine and turned himself into a preteen, and the fact that Shigo had to act as his mother near the end of the movie. Like I said, that movie is not even part of canon at all. So, but it comes to live actions with the different franchises, there's always cautious, you know? Like, fans are always question about some details, or at least are very cautious. Say, okay, there is one like two movies, even though I never saw the second one, but Space Jam with Looney Tunes with Michael Jordan. Okay, that movie, even though it's a live action with animated characters in it, it's pretty fun. It's it's really one of the best. Included Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Okay, that is another one. Human characters with cartoon style characters in it. Okay, in a mix, it works perfectly. But yeah, it's when it comes to certain character shows or something that they were, if they wanted to remake them or make them as live action, yeah, fans might be will be cautious. They might be a bit worried about if it's gonna be ruin the whole franchise or anything. It happens all the time, people. It happens. When I first heard about this live action version of the Kim Possible movie, I was like, okay. And then Pop Up Girls as a live and show, I was like, okay, that's new, but cautious. Yeah. After I saw the trailer, I'm really happy that show never happened. Trust me, it was horrible. But if they decide to make a live action show based on, say, Mario and Luigi, based from the games, not the movie, that might actually be something because they even did made a live action series back in the I think like early late 80s, early 90s, I think. Even though the show was mainly cartoon style, but Mario Luigi characters in the beginning at the end was live action. So yeah, I mean even Back to the Future, they actually made an anime series after the third movie was even released. Even though the show was only as a cartoon style, but Dr. Brown happened in the beginning and at the end of the series, each episode as himself as a live action. Only him, no one else. Okay, that itself was pretty good. But making a live action to certain shows or movies, I mean, if they were like a cartoon made a live action of a certain movie or TV show, of course, there will always be some cautious fans out there hoping that maybe this is not gonna ruin the whole franchise or the whole experience of their childhood or something. It's just something it is. I mean, like Pokemon, for example. Pokemon has been around since the late 90s. There's only been one live action movie, Detective Pikachu. I saw it. It was okay, I guess. But yeah, it's just even when they made a remade or animated version, like a CGI version of the when Mewtwo first happened in that movie, they made that one as a completely CGI, but it was exactly as the original, but only as a CGI version. So at least that is okay. That is okay, in my opinion. But still, turning the whole franchise from one other to another to a live action version. Well, I mean, it depends, of course, on which one it is. I mean, let's say if there were, say, Digimon. If that was somehow to be a live action, I was like, okay, this might just gonna be a mix of reactions. Or Dragon Ball. Okay, Dragon Ball has been around for for several years now. They actually even made one live action movie, which I only saw clips from, even though I never saw much of the original series. So, yeah, I don't even know. But I heard from some of my friends, like my late friend Cody, before he passed away, Cody Darkhawk, that if I remember right, he didn't like much of the live action movie of Dragon Ball. Of course, there might even be some fans. Oh yeah, that's a great movie. Even the fact that it's a live action. But can you even blame some people though prefer the original, not even live action? If they reboot it, okay, okay. Depends on also again how the what kind of show is gonna be rebooted. Yeah, so but there was one major change in one particular franchise, Pokemon. As you know, Ash was the main character of the show from the late 90s, from the original series all the way to the Journey Master Journey series when he and Go. And after that, Generation 9 had been out for at least about a year or so. And I was like, okay, next generation movie or the next Scarlet and Violet's gonna be the next Pokemon series that's gonna be released, and Ash is gonna travel to Paldea, meeting new companions, traveling around in his journey for being a Pokemon master. Oh, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. Because when the Pokemon Generation 9 series was released, or at least announced, plot twist, Ash was removed as a main character, and the Pokemon Company decided to retire his character entirely, officially, and replacing it with Lego and Roy. Okay, let's say from this, if Ash had even been officially retired, could Lego and Roy have been his new companion? I have to say yeah. But I think removing Ash from the series itself was really quite a bold move, in my opinion, of that. I mean, many fans has been growing up, literally grew up with the show from the original, like myself in the from the 90s, and of course many others that grew was born years after the show was even first started. Anyone that between the 90s and the early 2000s and even 2010s, those like that, who has been watching the show has been much a big fan ever since. Everyone fell in love with Ash and his Pikachu when they learned the fact that he was going to be replaced. It brought many questions, heartbreaks, even rage. I probably assumed that there would be many loyal fans who have been part of the show or have been loyal for this entire franchise for years. suddenly felt outraged, demanded to know why that Ash is going to be replaced by a new character. And honestly, I don't even know why that suddenly that happened. But I hadn't even seen much of the show lately for several years, except for Master Journey when Ash and Go was traveling around. And okay, I hadn't even seen much of Pokemon Horizon, but yeah. But removing Ash as the main character from the whole franchise, like put him on retirement, come on, was that really necessarily? I mean, Ash has been around for since the late '90s, and just now this. Yeah, many fans was probably outraged, sad, cried, heartbroken, questionable, like big question marks, like why? Like why the heck did they just do that? I mean, if he was been part of the franchise for so many years, why now? You may ask that. Why now? I mean, why then? If he was part of the show from the very original series and all the way to the generation 8, and even when they announced it's going to be another one in the G9 series of the Pokemon franchise, like in Paldea, I was assumed. Well, it wasn't much in Paldea that I was thought that much since it was mostly in Kanto region. I mean, there were some in Paldea, but still, I was very heartbroken. I was really devastated to learn the fact that Ash was removed. But even like Liko and Roy, of course, they're great characters as well. But removing a main character that has been part of the show for a long time, I was like, whoa, this is beyond me. Yeah, so I mean, when they happened to learn the fact that he was removed, I was like, okay, then after they revealed the script, the official style, how Liko and Roy look like, and when Liko was officially announced and even show her as a final uh, description of or final picture of her or the final concept how she was going to look like in the show, black hair, and many fans started questioning, even started assuming that Liko has some connection to Ash, either as his daughter or granddaughter, because we don't even know how many years has passed between the G9 and G8 series at all, unless it has only been like only a year. But then, as the series will still continue, many fans are still hoping that Liko has some connection to Ash somehow, either by family or maybe that's someone he knew. Well, it turns out at the end of the series, at the first season of Pokemon Horizon, yeah, it turned out that Liko has no connection to Ash whatsoever. Not by blood, not even at any form of connection at all. It shattered many fans' beliefs, speculations, hopes, dreams, theories, especially theories. Many fans believed that Ash and Liko was either related somehow, could have been like cousins, daughter, granddaughter, or something. Yeah, that was just okay. But then many fans even also perhaps even thinking, will Ash reappear in the show, even though he's no longer a main character? Like, would he have happened to walking by Liko and Roy on the street, or will he appear on the TV screen, a fight, doing his in his journey for be a Pokemon Master, or could he happen to be in a newspaper article mentioned Ash finally reaching his dream of to be a Pokemon Master? But no, not even single peep, not single once mentioned or even single cameo of Ash in a Pokemon Horizon. So many wonder still to this day what happened after Ash left the show as a character. will he ever reach his dream goal of be a Pokemon master? And what is a Pokemon master as a title itself? That is another question that we may, well, actually, we never will reach an answer for. If even if someone reached out to Pokemon Company or even the original creator of Pokemon series, asking him what is the rank of Pokemon Master, he will not give you an answer for any of that whatsoever. No matter how many times you ask, or if you refer the question in or try to ask a question in different ways, he'll still say the same answer. He won't ruin the mystery. I have my own theory. In order to be a Pokemon master, you may have to achieve something like defeat every single Pokemon League in every region, defeat every single Elite Four. After all, the Elite Four are among the strongest Pokemon trainers out there in each single region. In order to defeat, and after the next step would be defeat the current Pokemon champion, which at the time when Ash did was Leon. After Ash defeated Leon, Ash became the next Pokemon champion. But after that, how is become the next Pokemon master, or at least can it be multiple Pokemon masters or just only one at a time? I mean, think about it. It's really difficult to say exactly since it never been explained in details, or never will. So here's the thing. First in my theory is to win every single Pokemon League, defeat every single Elite Four, defeat the current Pokemon champion. But then, what's next? After defeat the Pokemon champion, it will automatically make the person as a Pokemon master. If that was the case, Ash would have been announced a Pokemon master even after he defeated Leon. But that didn't happen. So I think after the Pokemon champion, there had to be like a Pokemon world champion. And after that, maybe that's after the defeat the world champion will gave you the reach, achieve the rank of Pokemon Master. But still, that's only my theory. I don't even know if that's even possible. That might be completely wrong in order, or not, or complete baloney, as many say. But yeah, it's not really possible to say exactly what's going to happen in that. It's just speculations. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying it's just pure speculation. Because even if Ash would have been a Pokemon Master, even though the creator of the Pokemon franchise will never explain in detail what exactly a Pokemon Master is or how to even to be one. So the other question is, can it only be one Pokemon Master? Think about it. Even when there's a Pokemon champion, there can only be one at a time. After Ash defeated Leo, he was no longer champion, but Ash were. So, in order to be a Pokemon Master, I don't even know if that's even how that's explained in detail. But can it only be just one Pokemon Master, or if there can it be multiple, or can it only be one, but there are previous one that Ash must have to after? Okay, how about this? Defeat every single World League, defeat every Elite Four, then defeat the World Champion, uh, defeat the Pokemon Champion, and then defeat the Pokemon World Champion. And afterwards, they may have to fight against the current Pokemon Master in order to be the next one. So, if Ash defeats the current Pokemon Master, he will be the next one. So, if anyone else want to be a Pokemon Master, they have to do the same things all over again. Defeat Pokemon League, defeat Elite Four, defeat Pokemon Champion, defeat the Pokemon World Champion, and then next the current Pokemon Master, aka Ash Ketchum. But that is only what I think is a possibility at least. We don't even know for a fact of that details. I mean, we never will know since the Pokemon company and its creator refuses to give much in detail exactly much about the Pokemon champion or the Pokemon master at all. In fact, we don't even know if there can be a whole class of the Pokemon master is a whole class that there could be many Pokemon masters, or just simply just only one at a time. So you may even ask, can a former Pokemon Master to try and challenge the current Pokemon Master to obtain the rank again? Possibly, but I don't even know. It just never much explain the details of that part. Anyways, I think it's about time to end the stream here. So yeah, it has been a very much eventful evening, and a few people that actually come in the comments. So thank you for everyone who has either been watching the stream or in the comments. Every single comment is always appreciated. So everyone that is Switch Diablo or and so sorry. So this is Switch Diablo signing off. Bye everyone.